Hello, and welcome to the live stream with Greensboro Transit Agency. My name is Kevin Elwood, and I am the Marketing and Communications Manager with the City of Greensboro Public Transportation Division. The purpose of this stream, of course, is to educate students as well as potential riders from Guilford County schools, high school students, about how to use GTA. As you've heard in the news, GTA is working in partnership with Guilford County schools to be able to uh, to be able to provide transportation to students. And so we want to go ahead and move forward. First, we're going to have a few words from our mayor, Mayor Nancy Vaughn, so we can bring her into the stream. Hello, Mayor Vaughn. Good to see you.
Hey, Kevin, nice to see you. I just wanted to welcome everybody who may be on this informational session. We know that you got this information recently, and the city of Greensboro has worked hard to try to make the website and how to ride the GTA service as easy as possible. But I'm sure people have questions and concerns. And I'm glad that you are on this evening. And Kevin, thank you for all your hard work. And I'm sure this will be valuable information. You are still muted.
Thank you, Mayor Vaughn. It's a pleasure to have you here with us today, and we look forward to a really prosperous relationship between Guilford County Schools and the City of Greensboro with this project. So to move forward, I guess what we'll do is to get started and talk about the purpose once again. We're looking to make sure that riders as well as students are educated about how to use the public transportation system. So before we do that, I just want to tell you a little bit about GTA and just a brief history of GTA. So Greensboro Transit Agency was first created in 1990. However, public transportation services have existed in Greensboro for a very long time, actually from the late 1800s. At that time, public transportation services were provided by a little known company you may not ever heard of called Duke Power. Yes, they actually were in the public transportation business in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And so they operated the transit system in Greensboro. Also, in addition to Duke Power, there were other smaller companies that operated public transportation as well. But over time, of course, the city of Greensboro decided that they wanted to operate their own municipal transit system. So in 1990, the Greensboro Transit Agency was formed. And ever since then, we have been operating, providing the safest and most reliable public transportation services. Now, one thing that people may not realize that actually previous transit vehicles in Greensboro included not only diesel and gasoline buses, but we actually had electric road and street trolleys that roamed the downtown area. So electric buses are not new to Greensboro, but we're glad that they're making a comeback at this time. So moving on now, today's GTA. We have 17 routes that are operating throughout the city, and that's almost 1,100 bus stops that are serving Greensboro and also Jamestown. We send buses out to Jamestown as well because we know many of the students in the area attend Guilford Technical Community College. We serve approximately 3.4 million passenger trips annually. So we carry quite a few people. This number, of course, was before the pandemic. That dropped slightly for the pandemic, but we are, along with transit systems around the country, are seeing a robust return in passenger trips. And then as far as our fleet serving the community, we have 55 fixed route buses. And we call them fixed route because those are the buses that follow a pre-designated route every single day. They consist of diesel buses, also consist of diesel electric hybrid buses. And then again, we have started adding to our fleet electric battery buses that were manufactured by Proterra, located outside of Greenville, South Carolina. So moving on to talk about using GTA, we know that there's it may seem a little complicated, but it's really not. There's really only three things that you need to know. That is knowing where you are, so where you're wanting to leave from, where you're going, and also what time you need to be there. Those are the only three things that you need to know. Now, we make it easy for you to get this information. At one time, in order to get this information, you had to rely on print schedules and maps, which we do still offer to the community. However, in this digital age, we've made a lot of other options available for you. One of the main ways of doing it is our Transloc Rider app. This is a free app that you can download from the Apple or the Google stores, and you can use it to see our routes, real-time bus information. And actually later in this stream, I'm going to walk you through downloading and setting up this app. So I'm going to say in preparation for that, if you're like me, if you haven't used the App Store in a while, you'll go to it and it'll ask for a password. And I'm like, ooh, what's my password? So I'm going ahead and give you a warning now. If you want to go ahead and check your App Store and see if you need to put in a password and get that set up so that when we do the download, you'll be ready to do that. Also, we have a tool, Google Maps. Google has partnered with transit systems around the world to offer trip planning using Google Maps. And so I'll show you a little bit on how to use that as well. Finally, we have GTA customer service. We have live agents that man our phones whenever our buses are in operation. Feel free to contact them at any time at area code 336-335-6499. Now, that phone number is available on all of our bus stop signs in the city, so you can always find that number. And when you call them, they're located at the depot downtown. They'll be able to answer any questions that you have, including going from your address to your destination. So to get started on riding GTA, there's just a few things you want to keep in mind. Number one, arrive at your bus stop 5 to 10 minutes early. And that's no different than riding the school bus. You just want to make sure to be out there a little bit early because the buses, we do our best to keep the buses on time. Buses sometimes run late, and that's not good. But also buses can sometimes run early, and that's actually equally bad. The reason for that is when people are expecting a bus to arrive at a certain time, if the bus has already come and gone, then that means they're going to have to wait until the next bus. So we try to pace our buses along our routes so that they arrive at the times that they are scheduled to arrive. Now, also, when you're riding the bus, make sure to confirm the route on the sign and on the bus that you're looking to ride. The reason for that, obviously, you want to make sure that you're getting on the correct route when you get on the bus. As far as the sign, you'll see eventually that the bus stop signs, sometimes they will have more than one bus route located on them. If you take a look at this picture here on to the right, you'll see this bus stop sign. This is what they look like. And they will contain at least one bus route. In this case, it has two. That means that there are two different routes that serve this stop. So that's all the more reason that you want to make sure to look at the bus when it's arriving and make sure that it has the correct number for the route. Okay. Also, let's go back to the previous screen. Also, once the bus arrives and you know it is your bus, you want to make sure to have your Student One card ready to show the operator. Through the partnership with Guilford County Schools, we've been told that all of the high school students should have a copy of this card to show the bus operator. Now, if your student does not have this card, they'll need to contact the Guilford County Schools, either their particular school or the central office, to make sure that they can get a copy of this card, because this is what's going to be allowing them to ride fare free on the buses. Once they board the bus, remember, face coverings are required. We know that there has been changes back and forth with the city and the county as far as mask requirements, but because we are funded by the Federal Transit Administration, they have required this entire pandemic to transit systems to require face coverings when on buses and on transit property. So that has not changed, and it probably will not change for the near future. That is to help to protect the safety of our riders as well as our operators and staff. Now, once you get on the bus, of course, you can sit in any available seat that is on the bus. We do ask that you do make the front seats available for our elderly persons with disabilities. Also, the front seats, you'll see in a little bit, they actually fold up to allow people in wheelchairs to be able to ride the bus. Once you're on the bus, then of course it will take off and head along its fixed route. Now, the bus is only going to stop for two reasons. Unlike the school bus, which will stop, at its pre-designated stops, a transit bus will only stop for two reasons. That is, if it sees someone waiting at a stop to get on, or if it knows that someone on the bus wants to get off. Now, how do you notify the operator you want to get off? There is a yellow cord that runs along the length of the bus. That is the stop request cord. You will pull that cord and it will ring a bell up front to let the operator know that you would like to get off at the next stop. So we recommend that you pull that cord about a block or two before your expected stop, because we don't want the operator to have to try to come to a quick halt to let you off the bus. Once you come to a stop, we ask that you leave the bus using the rear doors, and that is to help with the flow of passengers on and off the bus. The passengers come on the front door and they leave using the rear doors. Okay. And finally, one other thing to mention is, unlike school buses, the transit bus, people who are driving, they are not required to stop when a transit bus is at a bus stop. So when you have a bus that is stopped, traffic is not going to stop. It's going to keep on going. So we ask that you make sure to use caution when you're crossing the street to and from the buses. All right. So moving on. Just to give you an idea of our system, we have a series of 17 routes that runs throughout the city. We operate Mondays through Sundays. Monday through Fridays, we operate from 5:30 a.m. until 12 o'clock at night. And that is a 30-minute service that we operate. So the bus comes along every 30 minutes. On the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, we operate every 60 minutes. So it's hourly service, and it operates from 6 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. So during these times is when you're able to access the buses. Now, as you see from this map, which is available on our website at ridegta.com, you can easily see all of the areas of Greensboro that we cover. Of course, the main corridors such as East Market Street, West Market Street, Battleground Avenue, South Elm, Eugene, Martin Luther King Boulevard, Cone Boulevard, Yanceyville, all of these different streets we cover. And although the buses do mainly stick to the main thoroughfares, in some of the routes, they do go up into different housing areas to be able to extend that reach. So we have a pretty wide reach for the city of Greensboro. Of course, there's plenty of areas that we would like to extend our services to. And once we are able to get the financial resources to do that, then we will definitely be moving forward with that. Now, as far as the buses that we use, we believe that people should be proud of the buses that they ride on. And so that is why we always try to keep our buses in proper maintenance and also keeping newer buses in rotation so that they can enjoy having travel on these type of buses. And this is just two sample buses that we have. The one on the left is a diesel bus, clean diesel that we operate. And this particular bus is actually manufactured by New Flyer Corporation. And then on the right are our brand new battery electric buses, again, made by Proterra. Those buses are energy efficient. They use no fuel. They basically use electricity for propulsion. We charge them at night, or we charge them also at the depot, and they're able to provide services throughout the city using electric power. Also, to give you some more information about the buses that we're using, if you take a look, you'll see just a few photos here on the inside and exterior of the buses. On the left, you'll see the information on our bus headers. Again, face coverings are required, so you want to make sure to have them ready to board the buses. On the inside, you can see the interior of our buses. We keep them as clean as possible because we want to make sure that people enjoy being able to ride in a clean bus. Some of the amenities that we have are skylights on the bus, so that help to reduce the feeling of claustrophobia. Bottom left, you'll see they are sanitizing the bus. Ever since the start of COVID-19, we have been sending our maintenance crews on the buses in between the runs to sanitize, wipe down the seats and the bars to keep everything safe. And then finally, on the bottom right hand, you'll see all of our buses contain bicycle racks. And so those racks will allow you to carry a bicycle with you anywhere that you go on GTA. It has space for 2 bicycles, so it's first come, first served. If the bicycle racks are full, then you'll have to wait until the next bus comes. But it's rare that we will have a bus with 2 bicycles already on it in Greensboro. Now, to give you a little bit more in depth of our vehicles, I recorded a short video today, ran over to our administrative offices just to give you an idea of what the buses look like in person. So if you can we'll add right here and let you take a look at the buses in person. Hello, welcome to Greensboro Transit Agency. We're here to give you an idea of what the buses look like that we'll be using to shuttle your kids back and forth to school. We're here at our GTA Maintenance Center where our buses are parked when they're not in service. We have a variety of buses including diesel electric hybrids, and we also feature brand new battery electric rechargeable buses. And so that's one we're going to take a look at right now. As you can see, the buses are charged each evening by plugging them in, and then once they are fully charged, we are good to go. One thing to mention, Greensboro for a good 10 years now actually has been a safe place location. Safe place, if you're familiar with, that is a designation for a place that if there are kids that feel like that they are in trouble, they can notify the people on the premises. In our case, it would be the bus operator, and they are trained to respond and to help them get the help that they need. All of our buses are equipped to carry bicycles, up to 2 bikes at a time. So if your student wants to bring a bicycle with them to school, all they would need to do is insert it right here in this rack. All right, and so going around to the other side, here we go. The length of the bus, as you can see, we keep our buses, you're probably saying it's pretty clean. Well, you know, we wash our buses every night because we don't believe in that old adage about transit buses being dirty. We wash our buses every single night because we feel like people should be as proud of their buses as they would be of their own cars. So going on board, this of course is where the operator would sit. For their protection, we've had installed these COVID guards that swing down, and so that helps to protect them as well as the passengers as they board. Now, normally, if you were coming on board, you would pay a fare using this fare box here. It accepts cash. Also, we accept our new UMO card. You would just tap that here, or your phone, you would tap here, and that's where you would pay your fare. But of course, Guilford County students will be able to ride fare free. They will just show their one card to the operator, and then they'll be able to board. Here is the interior of the bus. Our buses will hold somewhere around 40 to 44 people seated. We have room for persons with disabilities in terms of wheelchairs. That's actually why these seats are folded up. So when these seats are not needed, we just basically put them down and voila, seating for 3 more people. Now you'll also see USB plugins. Just about all of our buses have these. So now when our riders are on board, they can be charging their mobile devices as they travel. So again, this is what the interior of the bus looks like. We do our best to keep them as clean as possible by cleaning them every night. And then of course, if there's any type of dirt or trash or anything during the day, all they have to do is notify us, and then we will make sure to get that taken care of. And so again, this is the inside of our battery electric bus. It's a very quiet bus. As a matter of fact, the bus is on right now. It is running. All you have to do is put it in to drive and drive off. GTA buses will only stop if they see someone waiting at a bus stop waiting to board, or if they know someone on the bus wants to get off. Now, how do they know? Easy. If you are ready to get off the bus, you would just pull this yellow cord located here. It runs along the length of the bus on each side. That is the stop request cord. Once that is pulled, that will ring a bell up front that will allow the operator to see that someone wants to get off at the very next bus stop. Of course, since the outbreak of COVID a couple of years ago, we have been working to make sure that our passengers are protected. And that includes, again, installing these sneeze guards for separation of our operators from the riders. Also, we've installed hand sanitizer dispensers on every one of our buses, so we encourage riders to use them. Also, masks and face coverings are required. That is a federal requirement. So you will need to use a face covering while you're on the bus. Now, as you look, you'll see that there's actually quite a bit of space on the bus in comparison to a typical school bus. So there is a little bit more room to socially distance, especially when the ridership is smaller. So we ask people to just continue to do what they've been doing in terms of washing hands, keeping their distance, and doing whatever they can do to help to stomp out COVID-19. One important thing to note as you're catching the bus is to pay attention to the destination sign on the front, because that will tell you what route this bus will follow. In this case, it's following Friendly Avenue route, which is Route 7, and it's set for outbound. Outbound means that the bus will be traveling from the depot out to the end of the line. When it gets to the end of the line, it turns around, and then the sign will switch to inbound, and that means that it's headed back towards downtown. So that's pretty much how to know what direction each bus is going in. If it's inbound, it's headed towards downtown. If it's outbound, it's headed away from downtown. And of course, if there's ever any question, feel free to ask your operator. So hopefully that gives you a better idea of how to ride the bus and what to expect when you're getting on the bus or going to the bus stop. Now, before you travel, the best thing to do is to plan your trip. And so, as I mentioned before, there are several options you can use to plan your trip, including basically using Google Maps. Google Maps, most people will use, show that they can plan their trip using an automobile. But many people do not realize that you can actually use uh, Google Maps also for planning your trip on public transportation. So let me bring that up and see here. All right, here we go. All right, so to get to it, you would simply go to maps.google.com. All right. And so, again, many of you are familiar with this as far as if you were planning a trip using your personal vehicle. So, let's say you want to plan a trip to school. Let's say that you're wanting to travel to Dudley High School in East Greensboro. All you would need to do is to put in your starting point and also your destination. So we're going to put in Dudley High School. All right. And so this is actually planning the trip from my home. So I still need to put in uh, our origination point, which in this place, let's just use a location in East Greensboro. Matter of fact, I've got a place right now, 2800 East Gate City Boulevard. And for those of you that don't know, that is actually the address of the city's beautiful Gateway Gardens, which is served by GTA. So when you put in that information, you see here, it shows how you would drive to get to Dudley High School from Gateway Gardens. Again, you may not have ever noticed, but up here, there's a little icon of a bus. That is to plan your trip on public transportation. So when you click on this, it gives you the information on how you would travel. Now, it always gives you the option to walk. And actually, as you can see here, it will take 24 minutes approximately to walk from Gateway Gardens to Dudley High School. But here is the suggestion for taking the bus. If you wanted to leave right now, it is saying that you would take the arrival at 6:20 at bus stop on Route 4. And that bus stop is located right here off of Gateway Gardens. So let's go ahead and select that. And as you can see, there is a bus stop located here at Gate City and Astor. You would get on Route 4, and then you would stay on the bus until you arrive at Gate City and Lincoln, which is at the entrance of James B. Dudley High School. Now, you may have seen on our website that we provided a listing of the high schools and the routes that would serve them in a stop that would serve it. But there's actually many times more than one stop that will serve a school, especially because their campuses are so large. If we zoom in, you can see here that there are actually several bus stops around Dudley. So if your class may be on this side of the school, then of course you can get off the bus here. However, near the Academy of Lincoln. However, if you are your class is on the backside of Dudley, you may want to get off at one of these other bus stops, like at Pear and Willow, or at Willow and Wythe. So that gives you the option as far as where to travel to. Now, with each of these bus stops, if you click on them, it will give you information on that bus stop, including a street view. And then also to help recognize landmarks, if you click on your terrain layers, you'll see here that you can see an aerial view of the area and be able to use that to gauge where you're going. So let's go ahead and turn this back off. All right, so that is how you would use it to travel from your home directly to the school when the school is located on the same route. Now, sometimes for some of you, you may need to change buses. Many of the trips in Greensboro involves changing buses when you're going from one side of town to the other. And so we make that available to you as well. The only difference is you would be transferring at the depot from your first bus to your second bus. So why don't we go ahead and take another look at doing a trip that would involve a change in buses. So let's just start over. All right, so we're going to do our directions again. And this time we're going to use the address of 223 West Meadowview Road, which is the address for Greensboro Transit Agency, our maintenance facility. Now, you can sometimes use the name of your destinations as well. So in this case, I'll put in Greensboro Transit Agency. And if you see here, West Meadowview, so that shows where we are right here. And our destination, this time we're going to put in Grimsley High School. Okay, so now you see here it gives us several options coming up over the next hour or so. Because we're located, our facility is located halfway between South Elm Eugene and South Randerman Road. You have the option of taking either route. You can take Route 12, which serves Elm Eugene, or you can take Route 13, which serves Randerman Road. So in this case, we're going to take Route 12. It shows here that you will walk to the bus stop, which is like 2 minutes from our front door. There you will board the bus inbound, Route 12, again, inbound because it is going towards the downtown area. Once you arrive at the end of the line at the depot, there you would change to the next bus, which is Route 8 Battleground Avenue. Now, we offer free transfers for all of our riders, but especially for the high school students and the Guilford County school students, you will be able to transfer buses free of charge. You just will have to show your one card once again. Once you get on your second bus, you will ride that to your final destination. And as you can see here, Westover and Benjamin Parkway is where you would get off. And once again, there are typically several bus stops around the school. We'll zoom in here. And as you can see, this is the bus stop that it has you getting off at. And then you will just walk down the street to Grimsley. Or if your school is on the western side of the school, you can actually get off at this bus stop here at Westover and Seminole. And then you would just cross the street to the school. Okay, so hopefully that helps you to understand how to use Google Maps in traveling on GTA. So let's go ahead and turn this back off. Okay, so next, what I would like to do, as we've been emphasizing so far throughout this stream, we really feel like that the Transloc Rider app will be of benefit to your student as well as you, the parent. Of course, students are very comfortable with using apps. And so this has been designed to be very user-friendly and to allow you to get real-time bus information. And so let's go ahead and download it on your phones. So if you can take out your phone, and if you have an iPhone, you will want to go to your iPhone app store. If you have a Android, then you'll want to go to the Google Play Store. When you go to those stores, you're going to search for an app called Transloc Rider. As you see it there on the screen, it's TRANSLOC Rider, RIDER. So I'm going to do it along with you here. Okay, so when you pull up Transloc Rider, you'll pull up some different apps depending on the order that it brings it up. But you should see one that literally says Transloc, and it may say Transloc Rider or it may say just Transloc. But both of them are the same thing. So when you see that, you're just going to download that. All right, so click on download, and we'll give it a few minutes for it to download. While we're waiting for your phone to download, one thing I'll also point out, we recognize although a majority of people nowadays have smartphones, we know not everyone does. Some people still stick to the older flip phones that have texting capabilities. Well, you'll be happy to know that you can actually use the old style phones as well to text a mess, or excuse me, to get next bus information using your phone. If you look at the sign on the right hand side of the screen, the bus stop sign, all of our bus stop signs contain that circular sign at the bottom. It contains the individual bus stop code. So all you would need to do is to send a text to the address 40404. And in the message line, you will put GTA Heat with no spaces, and then you would have a space and then the bus stop number. So you would text GTA Heat space 4264 in this case. And when you submit that, you will immediately get a return text that will give you the next three arrivals of the bus at that particular bus stop. Okay, so that gives you some time for that app to download. Hopefully, it is downloaded for you. Next, all you would do is open the app, and it's going to ask you to verify some settings. Basically, it's going to ask for your location settings to be approved, and of course, that is so the app will be able to determine your location when you're using it, and can tell you how to get to the closest bus stop or route. So once you confirm that, then when you open the app, it's going to automatically open up to show all of the bus routes and stops that are available within that particular area you are in. Now, if for some reason it's not available, or if it's not showing GTA, just go to your options and click on systems, and then you'll need to choose the system Greensboro Transit Agency. Because Transloc is actually used by transit systems around the world. And you'll see there's a long listing of transit systems. So you'll want to make sure if it does not default to Greensboro Transit Agency, just open your options, your settings, and click on Greensboro Transit Agency. Now, once you do that, you'll see all of the bus stops that are located along each route. And when you zoom in, you'll be able to click on each bus stop. It will give you information, the name of the bus stop, and also tell you approximately how long until the next bus will arrive. So looking at the screen in front of you, you can see Julian and Burbank is showing that the next bus will arrive in 55 minutes. And then the next bus after that will be in 115 minutes. Again, that is because Sundays our buses run hourly. They run every 30 minutes, Monday through Fridays. Also, you can click on when you click on the individual bus stop time there where it says 55 minutes, you can click on that and you can set an alarm that will tell you when the bus is 5 minutes away or 10 minutes away or 15 minutes away. So for students that want to catch a few extra Z's, you can actually set the alarm to get you up in time to go to the bus. Now, you should also be able to see on your app, and you'll see here on this screen, there is moving icons that represent the buses themselves. That shows the vehicle number. It also shows the direction that it's moving, and it even shows the current capacity of the bus. So, if there's, the bus can be 10% full, 50% full, whatever the case may be. So that will help you also in giving you an idea of how full the bus may be and whether you may want to wait for another bus. So that's something that's been used a lot by our riders. Okay. All right, so hopefully that has worked well for you. Of course, if you're having issues using the app, you might want to install it again and then go through those directions. We also have directions on our website at ridegta.com. They're step-by-step directions to be able to download and use this app. All right. Next, I'd like to talk a little bit about rider safety. Now we are no strangers to the negative perceptions that exist on the safety of using public transportation, especially from the movies and television shows from the 70s and 80s that tended to emphasize crime being committed on and around public transit buses. Well, that is a perception that is not a true perception. When it comes to safety on public transportation, we we realize that our riders are a microcosm of society as a whole. So it reflects what is going on in society as a whole, meaning that a vast majority of our bus riders are people just like you and me who travel every day to go to work, to go to school, to go to medical appointments, entertainment, houses of worship, all of these different places. They're going each and every day, just like we are in our personal cars. Of course, sometimes you may have people who act out. Of course, we see reports every day now of issues happening on airplanes, issues happening in supermarkets, or whatever the case may be. Again, that's just society as a whole. We we feel that public transportation is a very safe mode of travel, especially because number one, we have a professional career operator in charge of that bus. We don't call them bus drivers. We call them operators because they do more than drive the bus. They actually are responsible for the safety of each and every person on that bus. And that ranges from checking the bus, making sure ahead of time before they even drive it off the lot that everything is working safely. Also, monitoring to make sure that riders are following the policies and the rules so that if there's any type of issue, they can address that. So we have professional operators that will ensure that all of our riders, including your students, will be safe on these buses. In addition, we have a system of cameras and microphones that are located on each and every one of our buses. We have cameras that record up to 30 days of video for each bus, not only on the interior of the bus, but also outside of the bus. So if there's ever any type of incident, we can always go retrieve that video, can see what happened, and then can address it as it needs to be addressed. So when your students are riding the buses, we just encourage them, if there's any type of issue, anything they want to share, just make sure to notify the operator of any immediate issues, and then they will take care of them right then and there. We also have a app called See Say Now, and you can get that from our website at ridegta.com. This app will allow people to anonymously submit issues or complaints or anything like that that goes directly to our staff. The app will even take a picture. If you want to take a picture of what's going on, it will allow you to take a picture, and just for so that you won't be noticeable doing it. It actually turns off the flash on your phone when you do it. So that is something that you can use to report any type of issue that you see on the bus anonymously. And once we receive it in our administrative offices, in our operations center, we will respond accordingly. And then finally, of course, our Transloc Rider app will allow you to track your child's bus at any time. You don't have to use the app solely. You can also go to our website at gtaheat.transloc.com. So if you open that website, you'll be able to see a bus map of Greensboro. You'll see all of the routes, the buses in operation, and you can see exactly where each one of those buses are at any particular time. Okay. All right. So next, I guess we'll just touch on a few final things just to share, just, tips as far as using GTA. First of all, we want to, again, emphasize that when you are going to the bus stop, make sure to look both ways when crossing. Because cars are not required to stop for transit buses. So you want to make sure that you are safe when you are doing that. Also, make sure to follow us on social media to get important service updates. When there is inclement weather, which of course we're in that season now, GTA is known to be one of the systems that we don't shut down unless we absolutely have to, because we realize that people are more so going to be relying on us to get to school or to get to work. So, but if we do have any changes regarding inclement weather or other types of things, we'll be sending them out initially on our social media, which is Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Our Twitter and Facebook handles are at GTA Heat, and Instagram is at GTA Heat Bus. Also, remember, food and drink is allowed on the buses in sealed containers. You cannot consume them on the bus. That is against policy. That is to avoid having messes on the bus, and also for the enjoyment of all riders. Once again, download the Transloc Rider app for ease of use of the system. Notify your operator of any concerns or use the CSay Now reporting app. And then just a reminder, we do have a disruptive behavior policy that applies to all riders, including Guilford County school students. So if there's any type of issue on the bus, there will be reported to Guilford County Schools for addressing, and it could result in being removed temporarily or permanently from the use of GTA systems. Okay, so I think that pretty much does it for what we have discussed. Now we're going to open it up to some questions. And to ask questions, basically, all you need to do is to, whether you are signed in on Twitter or on YouTube or Facebook, just submit your question, post a question there, and then we'll try to answer that question for you. So let's take a look here. It looks like we have a question from the T Spot. Are there any routes that are altered because of staffing limitations? For instance, is Route 15 running hourly instead of every half hour? Okay. Well, like Guilford County Schools, and actually like transit systems all over the country, we have been having some challenges in terms of having enough operators to operate our services. Now, thanks to our operations staff, our contractor, Keolis Transportation, they have been doing a great job of helping to keep the buses moving. You may see on our buses, we actually have ads advertising for bus operators. So if you or anyone you know of may be interested, long distance truck drivers who may want to stay closer to home, feel free to contact us through our website to submit an application. So we rarely have to reduce the frequency of the routes. We may miss like a pullout or two throughout the day, but we do our best to make sure that we have enough operators to continue operating. Okay, so hopefully we answered that question for them. I think I see here that we are joined by Councilwoman Sharon Hightower. So we're going to add her to the stream if she would like to make a few comments. She is our public transportation liaison on the city council. So she works hand in hand with us as far as meeting the needs of riders in Greensboro. So let's go ahead and add her. Hello, Ms. Hightower. It's good to see you today.
Hey, good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Can you see me okay and hear me okay?
Yes, we can see you
Okay,
and hear you.
great, great. I'm just gonna listen in. I'm just getting in from a funeral, so, um, but sounds like you've got everything pretty much lined up. I think it's gonna flow a lot smoother than we are anticipating. Um, as I've talked to some school officials and principals as well. And there are some other alternative options being presented as well. So, but what you've put together, Kevin, sounds like an ideal package for getting our children to school. and I think it's going to flow rather smoothly. Um, the concerns I think that some of our parents are experiencing, I think we're touching upon safety being number one. And I think we have those mechanisms put in place, correct?
Yes, we do. We just finished discussing safety on riding public transportation, specifically for our high school students, and we feel like that riding public transportation is just as safe, or even safer than as they're going out and about throughout Greensboro, going to stores and malls and places like that. Because again, we have a professionally trained operator there at all times to ensure that everything goes the way it should go. And, of course, as you mentioned, we are putting everything in place to make sure that once it comes time to start this on Monday, that we have everything running as smoothly as possible. We, of course, ask for some patience. Just think of it as the first day of school. Every year, of course, when you're starting school, when you're talking about the school bus service, you're trying to get the details for the parents and trying to arrange everything. And normally you have a few days where you're kind of working out the kinks. So we're just asking for the public to extend their patience to us for that as we look to get everything rolling. But tomorrow morning we will have staff. From what I understand, there will also be some Guilford County Schools representatives located at the depot. So we'll be there to guide any students coming through, answer any questions, and just make the process as painful, painless as possible. So, Councilwoman Hightower, again, thank you so much for joining us.
One other thing I would like to touch on, Kevin, if you don't mind, I apologize. I just got in from a funeral, like I said. I have had some parents and advocates reach out to me to say they would like to maybe be down at the depot with signage, maybe to help direct um, those getting off the bus who are transferring on how to, get onto the bus going to the destination. They don't understand that bus slip 4 means route 4,
Mhm.
something along those lines. Do you recommend that? Because I don't want too many people to be underfoot.
Mhm. Well, yes. And thank you to them for offering that opportunity. We actually are planning on taking charge of that in
I
terms of.
can't hardly hear you. It might be me.
Okay. Well, we're planning on taking charge in terms of having our staff and Guilford County Schools officials, representatives down there who will be meeting the buses as they come in and actually talking to them one on one. We'll be looking for students, going up to them, asking them, are they familiar with where they're going? Make sure that there's anything they may need as far as services inside the depot, restrooms, anything like that. And so I think we pretty much have that covered. We will make sure that the students have what they need and we'll identify them before they need to try to find us. But as you mentioned, that is a good thing for everyone to know that when it comes to the bus routes and the bus slips, they are all coordinated. So bus 1 is going to come into slip 1. Bus 2 is going to come into slip 2. Now, sometimes, of course, because of some inner routes, some scheduling, a bus may come into a different scheduled slip. But when you're going to board the bus that you board is always going to be in the slip with the same number.
All right, great. And I am late to the party, but any any sort of backup plan in case one of our buses doesn't pull out right, as we normally sometime experience. We miss our pull out time.
Well, our buses, of course, we right now, from the last numbers I've seen, our buses are about 96, 97% on time percentage. So our buses are good for being on time. If they do pull out, late for whatever reason, of course, some things can't be helped in terms of if there might be a
Right.
mechanical issue, or sometimes they may be waiting for another bus to come in. We'll do our best to keep buses on time, and I don't think that would be too much of an issue for the
Okay.
students. Our main thing we're going to be monitoring is the capacity of the buses. We're going to make sure that we have buses to use as helper buses just in case the buses are full. Then we can bring in a helper bus to follow behind, because we do know that it's going to be a limited amount of time for the students to get to school. And one of the great things about this partnership is that it is utilizing our current bus infrastructure during our off-peak hours. So our buses, the ridership is pretty low during these times in the late morning and the early afternoon anyway. So we feel like that we will have room to accommodate all of the people who need to ride.
Thank
Okay. All right. Well, I don't see any more questions. But if there are any more questions that you may have regarding using GTA, how to access the bus stop from where you are, feel free again to use Google Maps to download the Transloc Rider app or to call our customer service line. And that number, once again, is 336 335 6499. So for Greensboro Transit Agency and the City of Greensboro, I'm Kevin Elwood. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you on the buses tomorrow morning.